There is a man in Ohio who has serviced over 3,000 riding mowers. He has replaced spindle bearings on every residential brand you have ever heard of. He has watched the same transmissions fail on the same models, season after season, owner after owner. When someone asked him on a professional forum what mower he actually owns, his answer was not John Deere. It was not Husqvarna. It was not Cub Cadet. He said he knows exactly what breaks on every machine in that aisle. He is not buying any of them. The 5 brands in this video are the ones filling parking lots every April when the seasonal displays go up. The data behind them is not opinion. It is recall records, consumer rating databases, and the findings of consumer reports across more than 18,000 machines. 2 brands survived that data. The rest did not. Troy-Bilt has a 1.1 out of 5 rating on Consumer Affairs from over 600 verified reviews. Not a forum thread, not a comment section. 600 people who bought the machine, used it, and came back to tell someone what happened. A 1.1 out of 5 is not a brand having a bad year. It is a pattern. Cub Cadet sits at 1.2. Marginally better on paper, not better in practice. A verified owner reported complete transmission failure after 38 operating hours on a flat, level yard. No hills, no pulling, no abuse. 38 hours and the transmission was done. A new transmission on a machine like that runs close to the price of the machine itself. The Cub Cadet RZT50 added another failure mode to the record, a steering mechanism that stopped working mid-operation, leaving owners unable to maneuver around basic obstacles on a machine designed around precise directional control. Now here's the part that matters more than either rating. Troy-Bilt and Cub Cadet are not competitors. They are not 2 companies fighting for the same shelf space. Stanley Black & Decker acquired full ownership of MTD products in 2021. MTD owns Troy-Bilt. MTD owns Cub Cadet. The same parent company, the same manufacturing platform, the same cost decisions made at the same table by the same people. When a consumer stands in a big box aisle and weighs one against the other, they are not choosing between 2 different engineering philosophies. They are choosing between 2 different stickers applied to the same philosophy. When the same company builds both machines, the same corners get cut twice. The ratings reflect that. The transmission that failed at 38 hours reflects that. John Deere is the most recognized name in outdoor power equipment in America, green and yellow. A brand so embedded in the culture that buying one feels less like a purchase and more like a reasonable decision. The safe choice, the one your neighbor made, the one that felt like it could not go wrong. In January 2025, Kawasaki Motors USA issued a recall covering approximately 39,000 John Deere Z-Track zero-turn mowers. Models Z720E, Z730M, Z740R, and Z760R. The voltage regulator inside the Kawasaki engine can fail during use or while the machine is sitting in storage, causing the engine to overheat. The documented results were 5 confirmed fires and 26 separate incidents of melting or smoking, not performance issues, not premature wear, fires. These machines sold at authorized John Deere dealers from October 2018 through September 2024 for between $8,000 and $11,500. That is not a budget machine. That is a considered purchase. A machine a homeowner researches, saves for, and expects to run for a decade. It took 5 fires and 26 melting or smoking incidents before the recall notice was issued. 6 years in the field before anyone stopped the sale. A green and yellow paint job is not an engineering specification. The voltage regulator does not care what name is on the hood. Consumer Reports surveyed 18,560 gas-powered riding mowers purchased between 2015 and 2025. That is the largest independent reliability dataset in the consumer mower category, built from actual owner experience across a decade of real-world use. Out of every major brand tested, Husqvarna received the lowest predicted reliability rating in the 2025 rankings. not middle of the pack, not slightly below average. Last. The MZ61 is one of Husqvarna's flagship residential zero-turns, a machine positioned at the upper end of the residential market, carrying a brand name that has meant something in outdoor power equipment for decades. Owners reported engine failure, belt failure, and weak hydrostatic transmission performance before the machine reached its expected service lifespan. A flagship model at a flagship price, failing at the components a zero-turn is built around. Husqvarna is not a discount brand. It is a globally recognized manufacturer with genuine engineering history and a premium price point to match. A buyer who chooses Husqvarna is not buying on price. They are buying on reputation. They are paying for the name because the name is supposed to mean something about what is inside the machine. When Consumer Reports pulls data from nearly 19,000 machines and one brand lands at the bottom of the reliability table, the premium price makes that result worse, not better. A low reliability score on a budget brand is a warning about value. A low reliability score on a premium brand is a warning about trust. Consumer Reports identifies Kubota as the top-rated brand for zero-turn mowers in predicted reliability and owner satisfaction. The data set covers 12,000 machines purchased between 2014 and 2024. A decade of owner experience, and Kubota sits at the top of it. So why is it in this video? Between 2018 and 2019, Kubota issued 3 separate zero-turn mower recalls. The Z400 and Z700 diesel series had a rollover protection structure that could loosen and fail to operate properly during an accident. A rollover protection structure exists for one reason. When it fails, that reason no longer exists. A second recall in the same series covered a hot coolant hazard. A third covered the ZD100 gas series for fire risk. 3 recalls. 2 years. 3 separate hazards on machines sold in Kubota's signature orange and black livery at prices that place them firmly in the premium tier. The point is not that Kubota is a bad manufacturer. The Consumer Reports data makes a strong case that it is not. The point is that a brand's current reliability ranking and a buyer's individual experience are 2 different things. The owner who purchased a Z400 diesel in 2018 and never received a recall notice did not benefit from Kubota's long-term reliability average. Recall notices do not always reach every owner. Used machine sales, address changes, and gaps in dealer records mean not every affected machine gets repaired. 3 recalls in 2 years on premium price machines is a pattern worth knowing before the check is written. Spartan entered the market positioned on toughness, aggressive styling, premium price point, and a marketing posture built around the idea that this machine was different from everything else on the lot. That was the promise. In November 2025, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission announced the recall of approximately 650 Spartan model, year 2025, SRT XD and KGZ XD zero-turn mowers due to a crash hazard caused by a structural defect. These were not machines from a previous generation of the product. These were current model year machines on dealer shelves from February through October 2025 in the hands of buyers who paid for the latest version of the brand's premium lineup. The defect was structural, not a belt, not an electrical connection. A structural defect on a machine designed to be driven across uneven terrain at speed. The machines reached dealers in February 2025. The recall was announced in November 2025. 9 months. A buyer who purchased one in the spring of 2025 owned a machine with a crash-level structural defect for the entire mowing season before the recall notice existed. A structural defect on a current model year machine, identified within the same calendar year it was manufactured, means the quality control process did not catch it before it reached the customer. The machine that was supposed to be tougher than everything else on the lot had a crash hazard built into the frame. The marketing posture and the engineering reality were not the same thing. Scag has been manufacturing commercial-grade zero-turn mowers continuously since 1983. The brands that failed this video's test were still cutting corners, while Scag was building machines for professional crews who cannot afford downtime. Scag assembles the majority of its products in the United States, a manufacturing reality that affects parts availability, quality control, and long-term serviceability in ways that matter after the warranty expires. The Turf Tiger 2 runs dual hydro gear 16cc pumps paired with Parker, 18 CI wheel motors, a hydraulic oil cooler, and pump shock valves. A commercial-grade hydraulic specification that budget brands selling at identical price points do not come close to matching. The machine uses maintenance-free aluminum spindles. Spindles are one of the first components to wear out on cheaper mowers. Replacing one means labor, parts, downtime, and a trip to the shop. On a Scag, that is not the conversation you are having. There is also a value argument most homeowners never consider. A used commercial-grade Scag with 1,000 hours on the clock routinely sells for the same price as a new Troy-built or Cub Cadet. Professional operators report the used Scag will still outlast the new budget machine by years. You are not paying for aluminum spindles because they sound impressive. You are paying for them because they are the part you will never have to replace. The machine the professional landscaping industry has defaulted to for over 4 decades is not a coincidence. It is the result of 1,500-hour commercial workloads that expose every weakness a cheaper machine hides until year 2. Ferris does not sponsor anything and has no end cap at any major retailer. Most homeowners standing in a mower aisle have never heard the name. Ask a mechanic who has watched spindle bearing failures, deck cracks, hydraulic seal failures, and all the ways a zero-turn falls apart under sustained use what they would put in their own yard. Ferris comes up constantly, not because of the deck and not because of the engine, because of something most homeowners have never thought to ask about. The IS3200Z is consistently ranked among the top 2 commercial zero-turn choices for slope stability, holding the cutting deck level on inclines up to 10 to 12 degrees, where rigid frame competitors lose control. The feature mechanics actually point to is the independent suspension system. Coilover shocks that absorb impact before it reaches the frame, the deck, the spindle bearings, the hydraulic seals, and the transaxles. This is not a suspension seat. Most brands offer a suspension seat as an upgrade. A suspension seat protects the operator. It does nothing for the machine. The Ferris suspension protects the machine. Constant vibration and impact load are what destroys zero-turn mowers from the inside out. Spindle bearings fail from impact stress. Deck plates crack along weld points from repeated shock loading. Hydraulic lines chafe from vibration. Frame welds fatigue. On a standard zero-turn, every root strike transfers its full force directly into the drivetrain. On a Ferris, that force goes through the suspension system first. The drivetrain does not take the hit. That is why it is still running at year 15. That is why the mechanic buys it. 5 brands, recall records, consumer rating databases, and a decade of independent reliability data, all pointing in the same direction. The 2 that remain are not at Home Depot. They do not run seasonal sales. They do not have an end cap anywhere. You find them at independent dealers, next to the machines that professional landscaping crews load onto trailers every morning. Fabricated decks, commercial engines, built by people who understand that a mower is not a seasonal appliance. Your neighbor's machine needs a new belt every summer. The mechanic down the street is still on his first Scag, still on his first Ferris. The difference is not luck.